Oh yeah, I was actually thinking we should do a discussion today instead of a debate, unless you wanted to do a debate. I thought we could do like on and off, like I'm pro, then you're pro, then a discussion. So that way it's 1 out of 3 is a discussion.
Sure.
Were you upset? Do you have a really good argument prepared?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, so discussion then. So what is our cryptid today?
Today it's the Nandi bear.
Interesting. So
from mostly Kenya, but also other parts of East Africa.
Yes, so the Nandi bear is named that because of the Nandi people in Western Kenya. So most of these sightings are related to the land where the Nandi people live. However, when I was researching this, basically most of what I have to say has to do with this fact is that there are a billion names for the Nandi bear.
And a billion different images for what it looks like.
So here, I'll just list out some names and where they come from or what they mean. So besides Nandi bear, which I believe is given to the creature by like foreigners who work there.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. So there are also local names and, other language names. So there's Chemosit. I could not find any of these pronunciations anywhere, so I'm sorry. But anyway, Chemosit is a devil. That means devil. There's Carrot.
It looks like a devil.
Carrot, like Kerit. Codillo, I think, which is from the Ngao region of Kenya. And it's said
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
But since this is like, some people might just be listening to audio, do you think we should like describe what they look like?
Okay, if it looks different, then I'll describe it. How about that?
Different from what? We didn't say what it looked like at all.
Okay, fine. First, I will describe what the Nandi bear is typically said to look like. How's that? Okay, yeah. So the Nandi bear, again from Western Kenya, is said to be fierce, nocturnal, stands on its hind legs with a sloping back from its shoulders when it's not standing on its hind legs. And it kills and scalps people and eats their brains. It has reddish hair and long feet. Has tiny ears, although some people say it has big ears. 4 to 5 feet at the shoulder. Is that a good description?
Yeah,
Shuffly walk.
It could stand on its hind legs, but I thought it was usually a quadruped, no?
Yeah, it stands on its hind legs, but it also doesn't always.
Okay.
And it can do a shuffly walk like a bear or like a...
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but like I said, there are lots and lots of different competing descriptions and names. So Chemosit is another name for it, means devil. And when I looked up Chemosit, first of all, like, even though it says that Chemosit is a Nandi bear, I saw one image that was like a weird chicken thing.
It looks like a chicken goblin.
Yes,
it's 20 feet tall or something.
It's honestly way scarier than a Nandi bear description. It has like this huge gaping beak mouth, and then it's like standing on this talon foot, and it has like little shriveled arms, and it's holding onto a cane. Ugh.
In comparison to a human, the human is only like up to its knee.
Yeah. So that is apparently... It's weird because Chemosit is supposed to be the local name for a Nandi bear. It's not like it's another creature that has been lumped in. So I don't understand how it can both be the description of a Nandi bear and also look like that. I do not understand that part. So other names. Carrot, like I said, Kerit. Codillo, which is from Ngao, Kenya, and is supposed to look more like a baboon, like a really big baboon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of the size of a lion, but it's a baboon. Another word is Ngoloko, from Tanzania, which has big ears and a prominent nose, sort of like...
Looks like a Bigfoot.
Yes, it does look like Bigfoot. It's very hairy, has a beard, and it stands taller than a human. Duba, which means bear or hyena in Arabic, interestingly. So it's clear to me that, like, some of these cultures that are witnessing this creature can't even tell if it's a bear or a hyena. Or they lump them together because they have similar words.
Yeah.
The Shivu Ver from Kakamega country, Kenya. Could not find any other description of that. The Mubende beast, which I saw in one description, is sort of feline, interestingly. The Nyangao, which means dirty dog or bloody brute. Giant forest hyena. Ver. Sabruku from Kenya-Uganda border. Kikambangwe. Kikomba from West Africa. Komba means small arboreal primate, like a lemur or an aye-aye. And if you look up Kikomba, you can find this image from a very old book. It looks like a kappa, but bigger and stockier, right?
Yeah, it also just looks like a person on one side. It just looks like a
Yeah.
kind of hairy person.
Yeah, like you can see the sloping back thing because it's like almost with its hands on the ground. So it has a similar body shape to a big baboon or maybe a hyena, but it's humanoid. So that's a kikomba. And gadet, which is a term from the Lumbwa of Kenya. So I'm not sure how true any of these are. I got them from various different sources. But the point is, no one can agree what this animal looks like, what its name is, but that's because there are lots and lots of different languages in this region. But no one can agree on basically anything, right?
It's somewhere between 20 to 4 feet tall, could possibly resemble a chicken goblin / baboon / Sasquatch / human / bear / hyena.
Right. Yeah. It's so, well, let's keep talking about the facts of this case and then we'll decide what we think about it, right? The first recorded sighting is apparently 1905 in Western Kenya. Yeah, I guess it would be legends. It would be a legend before that from the local people. Like first written down, first named, I don't know. 1905, and then it was spotted a bunch of times in between 1905 and the 1990s. It hasn't been seen since the 1990s, and there's been a lot of deforestation since then. So that could explain it. What do you think?
Which was the sighting where a guy was on a train and he saw it running by?
I think you're remembering the most famous sighting, which occurred during the construction of the Magadi Railway in British East Africa in 1913. A railway engineer, G.W. Hicks, saw the creature. Oh, he was on a motor trolley, and he was traveling to the construction site.
Oh, yeah. And he saw it running on 4 legs,
He
right?
saw it running on 4 legs. It looked like a hyena, but then when he saw it closer, it was as tall as a lion. It had that shaggy hair. It was running away. It had short ears and no tail, large feet. He was going to go look for it, but he had to work, so he couldn't right away, and then he lost it. So that's the big one. Then there's another story that was repeated on a lot of different sites about the young girl who was captured from a village around 1914. She was a 6-year-old girl. She was dragged through the thorns, and they saw blood all in the thorns. So they were like, even if it didn't kill her, she's not going to be alive because she's being torn up by these thorns. Then they found it, and it had cracked open her skull and eaten her brains. So...
Sounds like a lion attack.
It does. It sounds exactly like your video. Although, did the lions like the brains the best? Did you say that?
Well, I'm not sure the best, but they used to crack open the skulls to eat the brains. Yeah.
Delicious. It also captured some guys. It's captured lots of dogs. Like, people have gone out to hunt it, and then their dog has disappeared. It's killed cattle. So, yeah. So there were lots of sightings, and not just sightings, killings, right? So I wrote down some theories. These are different theories that different people have put out there. And again, it's interesting to note how different all the theories are. The theories are bear, of course, anthropoid ape, gorilla. This is an out there one, a chalicothere, which is like related to a horse and a rhino, right? Or I forgot, but
I think so. It's a
really big
herbivorous ungulate.
Yeah, really big prehistoric creature. Spotted hyena, brown hyena, short-faced hyena. This is notable because the spotted hyena is the one that would be in the area, and it has the shaggy red fur, but the brown hyena is like closer to the description, I guess, and it's not really seen in that area. I think this is what I remember. And the short-faced hyena is extinct, but it also could match the description. The ratel or honey badger, which makes sense because honey badgers are very vicious, but would they kill...
But very small.
Yeah. Would they do all this stuff? Who knows? African wild dogs, which African wild dogs are actually terrifying. So...
Yeah, I heard they're super... Well, I don't want to vilify any animal as always, but I heard they're like pretty dangerous.
Yes, they're very malicious. Then aardvarks, which is interesting. Giant baboons.
Arthur the aardvark.
Chimpanzees, and even ostriches, which could explain the chamoset weird thing, but...
The goblin chicken thing.
Yeah. So, right. So, perhaps it is an animal that we've never heard of, or an animal that we think is extinct, or just a weird, freaky variant of any of these animals I mentioned. But it's so hard to say because, of the varying descriptions and circumstances.
Yeah.
When you talk about the Nandi bear, what are you really talking about? Are you talking about the animal that killed the 6-year-old girl, which could have been a lion? Or are you talking about that weird deformed hyena the guy saw on the train? Why are these all lumped together? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, there's just so many. It's so hard to pin down, and then there's no hard evidence of there being another animal.
Yeah.
I guess there's like a sketch of a footprint, and I was looking at it. I don't think the
Mm-hmm.
sketch is particularly good, but it doesn't look like a hyena or a lion.
Yeah,
It does sort of look like a.
sorry?
Go ahead. Go
An
ahead.
analyst said that footprint could have been, I think, a honey badger, two honey badger footprints on top of each other.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I think the problem is these are different groups of people. These are like, this is a large area. It's Central Africa, which is one of the most diverse areas in the whole world, right? And lots of different languages. Like, tribes have no reason to talk to each other. They don't like, they're not the same, right? They're different groups of people. And I think there were these people coming in trying to settle Africa, colonial Africa, and they were all from the same place. They were like from England, maybe, or France. And they sort of, Africa is notorious for being lumped in politically with like places that have nothing to do with each other. I think when they were building the railroads and stuff like that, and they were seeing some weird creature that was, first of all, weird to them because they were not from Africa. I mean, it could have been an actually weird creature, or it could have just been like a hyena, right? And then they were like, what is that? And then they were trying to gather information, and they talked to a bunch of random people, all from different cultures. And that's how they got all these different descriptions and all these different names. And then they made a name for it, the Nandi bear. And then later on, like throughout history until the 1990s, people would just take the easy route and call it Nandi bear. And then you would lose all the extraneous information or the extra information about where it was sighted, who saw it, like what animal it looked like. And so I think it's because they didn't know a lot about it when they first heard about it, that all of these different things have been lumped together and they might not be the same.
Yeah, I think so.
But it would be really interesting, like if any of these creatures were real, like the giant baboon looks pretty cool. The weird like forest troll Sasquatch guy. He looks fun. He looks very wise.
What about the one that's just like a dude?
No, he's not just a dude. He looks like half frog, half man. He's so, like, his face is so wide and his legs are almost webbed. That's the Kikomba. The Chamoset, I mean, that is probably the scariest one. It just looks like a demon spawn. I'm scared of that one. And yeah, ostriches are scary. I could see this being someone's description of an ostrich if they had never seen one.
Yeah.
But I am most interested in the giant baboon subspecies or other species, I think. Also, giant hyena would be sort of cool too. What do you think?
I guess I just wanted to mention really quick. I know some people say the train sighting, or not the train, what was it?
The railway.
The one on the railway. They were like, that guy had seen many hyenas before, so he'd know what a hyena would look like. I guess that's a fair point, but there's probably some variation with different hyenas.
Mm-hmm.
And if you saw it while moving and it was running through the bush.
Well, if you want an authority on this subject, if you want someone who has got it all figured out and decided what the Nandi bear looked like and is, all you have to do is read about Tarzan. Because Tarzan has defined the Nandi bear. Tarzan fights it in a comic. If you look up Tarzan versus Nandi bear, you can see him fighting it on the cover. It's definitely looks like a bear, and it has a large snout, as some descriptions have said. And yeah, so that's the definitive answer. Definitive answer is that it's a bear, and Tarzan fought it and won.
All right. Well, I guess we can move on unless we have any final thoughts.
I had so much fun researching this because of all the unhinged images that I was able to unearth.
Yeah.
It was so entertaining. Like here I'm trying to look at a bear and I'm looking at this chicken thing or this weird squat man. I would really love to hear from a local from this region of Central Africa, which again, it could be anywhere in Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda. Those areas are where it's typically heard of. If you're from there, please tell us what you think about the Nandi bear. I'd love to know.
Yeah, what's like the local legend of it?
Yeah.
Good to know.
So, should we move on to Q&A?